The galactic vessel Serenity hung in Earth's orbit like a crystalline snowflake, its iridescent hull reflecting the golden sunlight. Inside the ship's grand reception chamber, the first official meeting between humanity and a galactic community was about to begin. Ambassador Chen took a deep breath as she stepped forward with Earth's delegation. The chamber's high ceiling sparkled with bioluminescent crystals, casting a soft blue glow over the assembled representatives from 12 different species. Each alien dignitary stood with perfect posture, their ceremonial robes shifting in impossible patterns that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The gift exchange would mark humanity's first step into a larger universe. Chen approached the center of the chamber, carrying an elegant wooden box containing Earth's offerings. The lead alien representative, a tall being with silver-sheen scales, inclined their head in greeting. "We welcome Earth to the galactic community," they announced, their translator converting the musical tones into clear English. "Please, share with us your cultural artifacts." Chen opened the box and withdrew the first gift. An exquisite piece of origami crafted from specially treated paper that shimmered like mother-of-pearl. The creation depicted Earth's solar system, each planet folded with perfect precision. "This represents our art of paper folding," Chen explained, demonstrating how the piece could be transformed to show different configurations of the planets. It symbolizes humanity's ability to create beauty from simple materials. The alien diplomats leaned forward, their various sensory organs focused on the delicate artwork. A collective murmur of appreciation rippled through the chamber. Then Chen did something unexpected. With practiced movements, she showed how the same piece could be quickly collapsed into a rigid structure with surprisingly sharp edges. Of course, in an emergency, the reinforced paper and precise folds make it an effective tool for personal defense or even as a makeshift cutting implement. The chamber fell silent. The lead representative's scales shifted from silver to a curious shade of purple. "You designed this gift to serve as both art and potential tool." "Naturally," Chen replied with a warm smile. "Most human creations serve multiple purposes. It's part of our innovative spirit." She continued presenting the remaining gifts. A traditional ceramic tea set whose cups could be used as improvised sound amplifiers, a silk scarf treated with a special weave that could support several times its weight, and a collection of traditional wooden puzzles that could be reassembled into surprisingly sturdy tools. With each demonstration, the alien representatives' reactions shifted from initial appreciation to fascination tinged with something approaching concern. Their behavioral specialists in the background frantically documented every word and gesture. The lead representative found their voice again. "In all our centuries of first contact ceremonies, we have never encountered a species that approaches gift-giving quite like this." Chen's smile never wavered. "On Earth, we have a saying, 'Necessity is the mother of invention.' Our history taught us to always look for hidden potential in everything around us. It's not about seeking conflict, it's about being prepared for any situation." As she finished the presentations, the alien diplomats huddled together in a brief discussion. Their translators were working overtime to process the rapid exchange of clicks, whistles, and color changes. Finally, the lead representative stepped forward again. "The Galactic Council accepts Earth's gifts with great interest. Your species' ability to see multiple applications in simple objects is remarkable. We look forward to learning more about human innovation." As the ceremony concluded, Chen couldn't help but notice how carefully the aliens handled their new gifts, as if seeing them in an entirely new light. She also didn't miss how the security personnel had subtly adjusted their positions around the chamber. Humanity's first step into the galactic community had certainly made an impression. Whether that impression would lead to fascination or concern remained to be seen, but one thing was certain. The galaxy would never look at humans quite the same way again. The International Space Station Alpha rotated peacefully against the backdrop of Earth, its new crystalline additions reflecting starlight like diamonds scattered across its surface. After 6 months of integration with the galactic community, The station had become a symbol of cooperation between humans and their new alien colleagues. Dr. Sarah Lynn sat in the station's cafeteria, enjoying her lunch break while discussing quantum mechanics with 3 alien scientists. The Myraxian physicist across from her gestured with multiple appendages as they debated the finer points of wave-particle duality, their crystalline exoskeleton catching the light. The first warning sign was subtle, a slight flutter in her coffee cup. Then the artificial gravity flickered once, twice, and died completely. Emergency protocol initiated. The station's AI announced calmly. Artificial gravity system malfunction detected. Estimated repair time, 20 minutes. As loose items began floating upward, the alien scientists froze in panic. Their species had never developed the inner ear structures necessary for zero-gravity adaptation, and their crystalline bodies made sudden movements dangerous. Sarah's response was instant. She grabbed her metal tray with one hand and her sturdy polymer fork with the other. "Everyone stay calm," she called out, her voice steady. "Watch what I do." Using the tray as a makeshift shield to deflect floating debris, she pushed off gently from her seat. The fork, with its perfectly spaced tines, became an impromptu grappling hook, letting her catch the safety rails installed along the cafeteria walls. "Dr. Verix," she called to the Myraxian physicist, "keep your limbs close to your body. I'm coming to help." She demonstrated how to use the fork's handle as a pivot point, creating controlled rotations that would prevent the crystalline scientist from tumbling dangerously. Other humans in the cafeteria followed her lead. A maintenance worker used his soup spoon as a small paddle for precise maneuvering. A junior engineer transformed a napkin dispenser into a crude but effective stabilizer for the more sensitive equipment that had started floating. The alien observers watched in fascination as their human colleagues turned the cafeteria into an impromptu zero-gravity rescue operation. Every piece of cutlery, every tray, every seemingly mundane object found a new purpose. "Remarkable," whispered a Centaurian researcher, their bioluminescent spots pulsing with excitement. "They're using the aerodynamic properties of the trays to create microcurrents in the air." Sarah reached the Myraxian physicist and helped stabilize them using her fork and tray technique. "The key is to work with the environment, not against it," she explained, demonstrating how to use the fork's tines to catch the safety rails without causing damage. Everything has hidden potential if you look at it the right way. By the time the gravity systems came back online 15 minutes later, the humans had successfully prevented any injuries or damage to the station. More importantly, they had transformed a potential crisis into an impromptu lesson in adaptation. The station's safety officer, a towering Aldebarani, floated into the cafeteria just as the gravity returned. Their compound eyes took in the scene. Humans helping various alien species back to their seats, improvised tools still in hand. A most efficient response, they noted, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Though I must admit, I never considered eating utensils as emergency equipment." Sarah smiled as she helped her Myraxian colleague back to their seat. "On Earth, we have a long history of finding unexpected solutions to sudden problems. Sometimes the best tools are the ones already at hand." The safety officer made a series of rapid notes on their datapad. By the end of the day, the incident report had been transmitted to the Galactic Council, along with detailed observations of human problem-solving methods. The report's conclusion was simple but profound. Human ingenuity transforms not just objects, but situations themselves. As Sarah returned to her now cold coffee, she noticed her alien colleagues examining their own utensils with newfound respect. Sometimes, she reflected, the most important diplomatic breakthroughs happen not in formal meetings, but in everyday moments of crisis-turned opportunity. The Grand Gallery of New Alexandria sparkled under the light of 3 moons, its transparent dome offering a spectacular view of the night sky. Inside, the Intergalactic art exhibition showcased masterpieces from 100 worlds. Security Officer Maya Rodriguez walked her patrol route, her boots silent on the polished floor. The exhibition had drawn thousands of visitors from across the galaxy, including several prominent collectors. Maya noted with pride how the human artworks held their own among the exotic pieces. Earth's section featured everything from classical sculptures to interactive holograms. Her wrist computer chimed softly, a routine systems check, but something was wrong. The power signatures weren't matching normal parameters. "Control, I'm seeing irregular energy patterns in Sector 7, she reported quietly. "Request verification." The response came back garbled, followed by static. Then, without warning, every powered device in the gallery flickered and died. The emergency lights remained dark, and Maya's equipment, including her standard-issue defensive tools, went completely dead. In the sudden darkness, she heard the distinctive sound of magnetic locks disengaging. Someone had planned this, and they'd chosen their moment well. Most of the gallery's security systems relied on advanced energy fields and AI monitoring. Voices rose in panic as visitors realized something was wrong. Through the dome, the three moons cast just enough light to see shapes moving purposefully through the shadows. Maya counted at least 5 figures heading toward the most valuable pieces. She had seconds to act. Her gaze swept the nearby human exhibition, mind racing through possibilities. A smile crept across her face as she saw the materials at hand. The would-be thieves reached the crystalline dream section, where delicate sculptures from the Pleiades system floated in zero-gravity fields that were now inactive. As they moved to grab the priceless pieces, a cloud of metallic paint erupted around them, launched from a repurposed kinetic sculpture's compressed air system. Maya had already moved on, using the distraction to her advantage. She grabbed a roll of smart canvas, designed to change colors based on ambient light. With quick movements, she twisted it into a makeshift rope, using techniques learned from Earth's ancient sailors. The thieves regrouped, trying to wipe the revealing paint from their stealth suits. They never saw the twisted canvas coming. Maya swung it like a lasso, entangling 2 of them in its deceptively strong fibers. For illumination, she grabbed a phosphorescent painting, its specially treated pigments still glowing without power. The soft light was enough to help visitors move toward the emergency exits while revealing the positions of the remaining intruders. The thieves had split up, realizing their plan was unraveling. One headed for the ancient technology section, probably seeking something portable and valuable. Maya intercepted them using an abstract metal sculpture as a rolling barricade, its carefully balanced weight perfect for controlled movement across the smooth floor. When the gallery's power finally returned 5 minutes later, security forces rushed in to find an unusual scene. 3 thieves were bound with pieces of smart canvas, covered in metallic paint that matched their vital signs to security scanners. 2 more were trapped behind a barricade of strategically placed sculptures, illuminated by glowing paintings that Maya had positioned to eliminate hiding spots. The gallery's chief curator, a tall Andromedian with flowing silver appendages, surveyed the scene in amazement. "You protected priceless artifacts using other artifacts." Maya shrugged, carefully returning the pieces she'd borrowed to their displays. Every tool has multiple uses. Art is just another form of problem-solving. The incident made headlines across the galaxy. Human security officer defends gallery using art itself. But the real impact came later, when the Galactic Security Council revised its training protocols. A new module was added: creative resource utilization, the human approach. Maya received numerous commendations, but her favorite response came from a young alien visitor who had witnessed the incident. "I used to think art was just for looking at," they told her. "Now I understand it's also about seeing possibilities." The Botanical Research Dome on Europa Station stretched across 2 acres, its transparent panels letting in the distant sunlight. Inside, the carefully maintained environment hosted plants from across the galaxy. Dr. Emma Park knelt in the rich soil, examining a cluster of bioluminescent flowers from the Andromeda galaxy. The alien research team watching her work consisted of 3 species: a floating Nebulian who changed colors with their moods, a tall insectoid Vesperian with compound eyes, and a crystalline proximan who communicated through light patterns. These Earth techniques seem inefficient, the Vesperian observer clicked, watching Emma use simple metal tools instead of their recommended sonic cultivation devices. Why not use our automated systems? Emma smiled, carefully pruning a branch with her traditional shears. Sometimes the old ways have hidden advantages. Watch this. She demonstrated how the pruning motion could quickly shift into a defensive grip if needed. Every tool tells a story of its evolution. The proximan's crystalline form flickered with interest. You mean these implements served other purposes? Exactly. Most earth gardening tools evolved from earlier designs. This humble trowel. She held up the metal tool. Its shape comes from ancient digging tools used for both farming and creating shelter. The basic design hasn't changed much in thousands of years. Their discussion was interrupted by a sudden alert from the environmental control system. Warning: unknown biological contamination detected in Sector 7. Quarantine protocols initiated. The alien researchers froze, their species' various warning colors flashing. Through the transparent panels separating the garden sections, they could see a strange, silvery growth spreading rapidly across the precious specimens in the neighboring compartment. The containment field isn't responding. The Nebulian pulsed anxiously. Our standard protocols aren't working. Emma's eyes narrowed as she assessed the situation. Then we do this the Earth way. She quickly moved to the garden shed, gathering equipment. Help me set up a defense line. The aliens watched in fascination as she transformed their peaceful garden into a strategic defensive position. The watering system became a delivery method for organic fungicides, with different nozzles providing varied coverage patterns. Long-handled rakes created a barrier system, their metal tines perfect for removing infected plant material from a safe distance. She positioned the wheelbarrows as mobile containment units, lining them with quick-drying sealant normally used for grafting. The key is understanding how things connect, she explained while working. A tool that spreads fertilizer can also spread containment compounds. A pruning hook can safely remove dangers from a distance. The silvery growth reached their barrier. Emma activated the modified watering system, creating a fine mist of fungicide that settled over the advancing contamination. Where the solution touched, the silver growth turned dark and became inert. Remarkable. The Vesperian chittered, compound eyes focusing on the process. You've turned simple maintenance equipment into an emergency response system. Working together, they managed to contain and eliminate the mysterious growth. Emma used her garden shears to take samples for the research team, demonstrating how the same tool could be used for both sample collection and containment. Later, during the incident debrief, the station's science director seemed most impressed by the speed of their response. You didn't wait for advanced equipment or official protocols, they noted. Emma shook her head. Earth's history taught us that sometimes you have to work with what you have. Every tool, every object, carries multiple possibilities. You just have to see them. The proximan's crystalline form sparkled with new understanding. Perhaps we have become too dependent on specialized solutions. There is wisdom in maintaining knowledge of simpler tools. The incident report included detailed notes on Emma's improvisations. Soon, gardening stations across the galaxy began incorporating Earth-style tool sheds alongside their advanced technology. The official reason was historical preservation, but everyone understood the real purpose. As Emma returned to her garden the next day, she noticed her alien colleagues handling their tools with new appreciation, finally seeing them not just as implements, but as possibilities waiting to be discovered. The Centauri Institute's main laboratory gleamed under the purple light of its binary stars. Inside, Marcus Jung stood before a panel of distinguished alien scientists, his research presentation drawing to a close. The young human exchange student had spent the past month studying under the galaxy's leading minds, and today would prove whether Earth's approach to science could offer something new. In conclusion, Marcus gestured to the standard laboratory equipment arranged on the table before him. These tools can serve purposes far beyond their intended use. Let me demonstrate. The panel leaned forward, their various sensory organs focused intently. The head researcher, a luminescent being from the Pleiades cluster, gestured for him to continue. Consider this simple magnetic stirring rod. Marcus held up the common laboratory tool. Its primary function is mixing solutions. However, with minor modifications, it becomes an emergency power generator. His fingers flew over the device, making quick adjustments. By connecting it to this standard voltmeter and adding these copper wires from our basic electronics kit, we create a hand-powered emergency beacon. He demonstrated, spinning the stirrer manually. The assembled equipment hummed to life, producing a steady signal. The alien scientists exchanged glances. A Syrian researcher with flowing tentacles raised an appendage. Interesting, but hardly revolutionary. Why not simply use standard emergency equipment? Marcus smiled. Because standard equipment can fail. The more options we have, the better our chances of survival. He moved to his next demonstration. This ordinary centrifuge tube holder, with these rubber bands and that spring from a retractable pen, it becomes a projectile launcher for delivering emergency medicines or supplies across unsafe terrain. As he spoke, his hands moved confidently, transforming one piece of equipment after another. A Bunsen burner combined with glassware became a makeshift water purification system. Common paste strips, when treated with specific chemicals, turned into environmental hazard detectors. The Pleiadian head researcher's glow intensified. You're suggesting we should view all laboratory equipment as potentially multi-purpose tools. Exactly. Marcus nodded. On Earth, some of our greatest scientific discoveries came from using tools in unexpected ways. The microwave oven was discovered when a researcher noticed a chocolate bar melting near radar equipment. X-rays were discovered through experiments with cathode ray tubes. He paused, looking around the prestigious laboratory. Every tool here has potential we haven't fully explored. For example, he grabbed a laser spectrometer, normally used for analyzing chemical compositions. This can be modified into a short-range communication device if standard systems fail. The principle is similar to old Earth Morse code. The demonstration continued for another hour. With each example, the alien scientist's skepticism transformed into fascination. The Syrian researcher's tentacles changed color repeatedly, indicating intense intellectual excitement. Finally, the head researcher raised a glowing appendage. Student Zhang, your presentation challenges our entire approach to laboratory safety and equipment utilization. You've shown us that true innovation lies not just in creating new tools, but in fully understanding the potential of what we already have. The panel deliberated briefly before making an unprecedented decision. The Centauri Institute would establish a new research department, multi-dimensional tool application studies. Marcus would become its first human advisor. As he packed up his demonstration materials, a young Andromedan researcher approached him. "How do you see so many possibilities in such simple things?" they asked. Marcus carefully placed the magnetic stirrer back in its case. Humans learn to be creative with limited resources. When you don't always have the perfect tool for the job, you learn to work with what you have. Sometimes that leads to discovering something even better than what you were looking for. The next semester's curriculum at the Centauri Institute included a new required course, Human Perspectives on Equipment Utilization. The course description ended with a quote from Marcus' presentation. In science, as in life, it's not just about what a tool is designed to do. It's about what it could do. The Grand Concert Hall of New Venus floated in the planet's upper atmosphere, its acoustic chambers designed to capture and enhance every note played within. Tonight marked the first Interstellar Music Festival, featuring musicians from 50 different worlds. The human orchestra sat center stage, their traditional instruments gleaming under the ethereal lights. Isabella Reyes stood before her orchestra, baton poised. The alien audience filled every tier of the floating venue, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of colors and textures. She took a deep breath, remembering the true purpose of tonight's performance. Tonight, she announced, her voice carrying through the perfect acoustics. We will demonstrate how Earth's musical instruments evolved as tools of communication before becoming instruments of art. The first movement began softly, a single drum beating a rhythm that everyone recognized, the human heartbeat. More drums joined in, their patterns becoming more complex. In ancient times, Isabella explained as the drums continued, these rhythms carried messages across vast distances. Each pattern held meaning. Warnings, celebrations, calls to gather. The alien audience shifted forward in their seats as the drums demonstrated different message patterns. A Neptunian diplomat's tentacles swayed in recognition of the universal language of rhythm. Next came the brass section. The trumpets rang out in military signals, showing how different notes and combinations once coordinated movements of large groups. The French horns demonstrated hunting calls that could travel for miles through dense forest. A crystalline being from Proxima Centauri flickered in amazement. The acoustic properties match our long-range resonance communications. The woodwinds took over, with flutes playing shepherd songs that once guided flocks and warned of danger. The oboe demonstrated how its distinct sound could cut through any ambient noise, making it perfect for emergency signals. Isabella guided her orchestra through each demonstration, showing how every instrument could serve multiple roles. The strings played frequencies that could carry through water, while the percussion section showed how different materials created distinctive sounds that could penetrate various environments. Then came the full orchestral piece, a new composition titled Earth's Voice. It began with simple communication patterns that evolved into complex musical phrases. The alien audience watched in fascination as basic survival signals transformed into art before their eyes and ears. During the finale, Isabella demonstrated how the entire orchestra could work together to create a sophisticated emergency communication system. Each section could transmit different types of information simultaneously, creating a complex network of signals hidden within beautiful music. The true genius, noted the Syrian cultural attaché during the intermission, lies in how humans transformed basic communication tools into instruments of art, while retaining their practical applications. After the performance, the alien musicians eagerly compared their own instruments with the human ones. A Jovian composer was particularly intrigued by the piano's potential for coded messages through specific chord progressions. The Galactic Cultural Council, which had originally been skeptical about including primitive Earth instruments in the festival, now saw them in a new light. They began documenting how different species had evolved their own musical tools, leading to a fascinating study of parallel development across the galaxy. Isabella found herself surrounded by curious alien musicians after the concert. How did you maintain these practical skills while developing such complex art? Asked a Venusian whose instrument resembled a crystalline harp. She smiled, running her hand along her conductor's baton, which, as she had demonstrated, could also serve as a surprisingly effective emergency tool. Humans never forget the origins of our tools, she explained. Every instrument in our orchestra carries the echoes of its original purpose. The art became richer because we remembered where it came from. As the festival continued, other species began incorporating Earth's approach into their own performances. The following year's program included a section called The Evolution of Musical Tools Across the Galaxy, with Earth's orchestra leading the way in demonstrating how the line between tool and instrument was often beautifully blurred. The Olympic Museum of Mars shimmered under the red planet's afternoon sun, its holographic displays casting moving images across the polished walls. Today's special exhibition, The Evolution of Human Sports Equipment, had drawn representatives from every major spacefaring civilization. Michael Chen, sports historian and former athlete, stood before an eager audience. Behind him, classic sports equipment floated in zero-gravity display cases, each piece carefully preserved to tell its story. "Welcome to our journey through the history of human sports," he began, reaching for a weathered baseball bat. The security field deactivated at his touch. This simple wooden implement might look primitive, but it represents thousands of years of human ingenuity. He demonstrated the bat's balance and swing. Our ancestors first shaped wooden clubs for hunting and defense. Over generations, these tools evolved. Some became weapons, others became tools, and this particular branch became something unique: equipment for play. The alien observers watched intently as Michael showed how the same swinging motion could be used for different purposes. A Jovian scientist's atmospheric patterns swirled with interest when he demonstrated how the physics of a baseball swing mirrored ancient hunting techniques. Moving to the next display, Michael lifted a javelin. This Olympic implement began as a hunting spear. We transformed a tool of survival into a test of skill and precision. He handled the javelin with practiced ease, showing how its balance point and aerodynamics had been refined over centuries. Fascinating, hummed a Proximan delegate, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns of excitement. You maintained the original skills while removing the original purpose. Exactly, Michael smiled, moving to a display of ancient hockey sticks. These evolved from shepherd's crooks used to guide livestock. The curved end, perfect for controlling a ball, was originally designed to catch straying animals. He demonstrated how each piece of sports equipment maintained the core mechanics of its original tool. Tennis rackets reflected the patterns of fishing nets and hunting traps. The pole vault began as a method for crossing streams and scaling walls. A Neptunian observer raised a tentacle. But why continue practicing these skills through sport when they no longer serve their original purpose? Michael picked up a modern carbon fiber baseball bat, its surface gleaming. Because sports do more than preserve skills, they help us understand our own capabilities. Every game teaches something about physics, strategy, and cooperation. When humans play sports, we're not just competing, we're learning about ourselves. He guided the audience to a special display showing how sports equipment had evolved alongside technology. Look at this progression of swimming goggles. From simple glass lenses to modern smart displays with underwater navigation. The basic principle remained the same, but we kept innovating. The alien delegates were particularly impressed by the section on ball sports. The concept of taking the simple sphere and creating hundreds of different games, each with its own specialized equipment, sparked intense discussion. Your species turned practice into play, observed the Martian cultural director, their environmental suit humming thoughtfully. And in doing so, you preserved ancient knowledge without even realizing it. Michael nodded, picking up a basketball. Every bounce, every throw, every swing carries echoes of our ancestors. But we added something new: joy. We turned survival skills into celebration. The exhibition concluded with a demonstration of modern sports technology. Smart fabrics that monitored athlete performance, balls with embedded sensors, and equipment that could adapt to different gravity environments. Yet each piece clearly showed its heritage, its link to simpler tools. As the delegates filed out, a young Venusian student lingered, studying the simple wooden baseball. "Do you think," they asked, "that our species could learn to play your games?" Michael smiled, remembering his own childhood discoveries of sport. That's the beauty of play. It's universal. Games don't just preserve human skills. They build bridges between cultures. Maybe that's the most important tool they've become. The Galactic Sports Federation established its headquarters in the Olympic Museum shortly after the exhibition. Their mission statement, displayed prominently at the entrance, read, "Celebrating the evolution of play across the galaxy, where every game tells a story of innovation and every player becomes part of that story's future." The Galactic Council's grand chamber on Europa sparkled with crystalline light, its vast dome offering a spectacular view of Jupiter's swirling storms. Representatives from every spacefaring civilization had gathered for a historic session. The formal recognition of humanity's unique contribution to galactic innovation. Dr. Sofia Rivera stood at the central podium, surrounded by holograms showing human achievements from the past year. Each image told a story of adaptation and creative thinking that had changed how the galaxy approached problem-solving. "Distinguished delegates," she began, her voice carrying through the chamber, When humanity first joined the galactic community, our tendency to see multiple uses in everything was viewed with concern. Today, we gather to celebrate how this perspective has transformed our shared future. The main display shifted to show the recent rescue of a Centaurian research vessel. The human crew had repurposed kitchen equipment to repair a failing life support system, saving 37 lives. Next came footage from the new Martian agricultural domes, where Earth farming tools had been adapted to work in low gravity, increasing food production by 40%. A Pleiadian representative's light patterns shifted in agreement. The human approach to innovation has revolutionized our emergency response protocols. Every ship in our fleet now carries what we call a human possibility kit, simple tools that can be repurposed as needed. Sophia nodded, gesturing to the next hologram. It showed students at the Galactic Academy, where human instructors taught classes on creative problem-solving. We learned this adaptability from Earth itself, she explained. Our planet's diverse environments and changing conditions forced us to be flexible, to see potential in everything around us. The display showed examples from across human history: spears becoming farming tools becoming musical instruments, and musical instruments inspiring new technologies. Each transformation represented humanity's unique way of looking at the world. But our greatest achievement, Sophia continued, has been sharing this perspective with our galactic neighbors. Together, we've discovered new possibilities in familiar objects, new solutions in old tools. The chamber's artificial gravity briefly fluctuated, an unexpected technical problem. Instead of panic, the assembled delegates watched in appreciation as the human technical team smoothly converted their data tablets into makeshift stabilizers until the system reset. You see, Sophia smiled. This instinct to adapt has become part of our shared culture. We no longer simply ask what a tool is designed to do. We ask what it could do. The Andromedan speaker rose, their crystalline form catching the light. The Council has reached a unanimous decision. We will establish the Institute of Creative Innovation, with Earth as its primary campus. This facility will bring together minds from across the galaxy to explore human-inspired approaches to technology and problem-solving. Holograms showed the planned institute, a sprawling complex where traditional tools and advanced technology would be studied side by side. Every laboratory would be equipped with both sophisticated devices and simple implements, encouraging researchers to explore all possibilities. Furthermore, the speaker continued, we will incorporate human adaptation training into all galactic emergency response programs. The ability to see multiple solutions and repurpose available tools has proven invaluable in crisis situations. As the session concluded, a young Syrian researcher approached Sophia. We once thought humans were limited by their reliance on physical tools, they admitted. Now we understand that this limitation bred innovation. Every tool in human hands becomes a gateway to possibility. Sophia picked up a simple stylus from the podium, a device that could now serve as everything from a micro-welder to an emergency beacon. Thanks to human-inspired modifications, we never stopped seeing the world as our ancestors did, she explained. Every object holds potential. Every tool tells a story. And now, those stories have become part of our shared galactic heritage. Outside the chamber's windows, Jupiter's storms painted ever-changing patterns across the sky. Like humanity's gift for adaptation, they served as a reminder that change itself could be the greatest constant, and that seeing new possibilities in familiar things could light the way to an ever brighter future.